Hi there, welcome back to another video of Real Talk with Dr. Jim Sharps, where we're really attempting to demystify and simplify a lot of things in the original medicine space or the alternative medicine space, so that you can make more informed decisions about your body and about your health. So for those of you that are kind of regular viewers of these videos, you know that we take a very broad approach and we jump around in terms of topics. So we have been focusing, though, more recently on RBTI. It's something that we're putting a lot of focus in at the school. So we really wanted to maybe go in another little direction with RBTI from an applied sense and talk about blood pressure. So Dr. Jim, maybe the first kind of question I can ask you today is, how does RBTI address blood pressure?
Okay, there's a couple of, that's a really good question. It's really good because most people die because of heart failure. So that is a singularly important question. And you can significantly reduce that by using RBTI and paying attention to it. Obviously, there's nothing in a blood test that can give you any kind of a clue of cardiovascular stress or problems. You can use a blood pressure cuff and it'll tell you that blood pressure is high, but it really doesn't tell you why or how to fix it. So what RBTI can contribute is there are a couple of numbers that are particularly significant with RBTI. One basically is a number that tells you if your heart is under a lot of stress because the heart is beating way too hard. It's beating way too hard because of too much stress from thick blood. And so while the blood doesn't tell you it's too thick from a test, this RBTI test will tell you that the blood is so thick that the heart has to beat so much harder, and it beats so hard that it basically gives out. That's one kind of heart attack. It's called a pectoral heart attack. A lot of crib deaths are the result of babies that the protein is so high that it causes that kind of pectoral heart attack. And when they do the autopsy, over 90% of them, you'll find that it was due to the heart was just beating so hard because of all this excess protein that they can handle, that is that is seen very clearly in the RBTI test. The other one is something called an angina heart attack. And you can have both at the same time. But one is because the heart is beating too hard. The other one is because there's too much stress in the heart because of the vascular system. And you're creating too much cholesterol. And this gives you that clue. And so you get what is called the hardening of the arteries you've heard of. And the cholesterol is there to kind of soften them, so to speak. But you know, the more cholesterol, the narrower that blood vessel gets. And so then you can get another kind of a heart attack. So you can have either an angina, a pectoral, or both at the same time. You can have stress on the vascular system and the heart beating too hard. So you can have a combination of both of them. And that is clearly read in the RBTI numbers. And you see ranges where it says, okay, this is a good range. And as you go further into that range, you get into mild, moderate, or fatal heart attack zone. And so with that, you can see very clearly that there's a problem. And in addition to that, there's a very clear answer and a very quick way to see if that clear answer is working or how fast it's working. So that's the contribution that RBTI can make that very few other tests can match. Like I said, you can take your blood pressure reading, but you don't know why, you don't know if it's in the pectoral, the angina, and what to do. And of course, from a conventional standpoint, they either provide an ACE inhibitor, beta blocker, calcium channel blocker, some kind of medication, and or a diuretic because of all of the stress that's putting also on the kidneys. So that's the medical approach. From a natural approach, if you don't know the numbers, you have approaches that you can take, like a hot bath, anything that's going to kind of relax the blood vessels, anything that's going to improve the flow. You know, there's certain vitamins and herbs that promote health, heart support, etc. But the RBTI can help both of them, both of those types of practitioners. Of course, the medical folks don't pay much attention to it. They're not taught it, so they don't look at it at all. And quite frankly, even though it fits very well into the natural model, most natural health practitioners aren't really aware of and use RBTI in their practices, which is what we're trying to encourage both practitioners and even ordinary people. They can look at their own numbers, and they can do this on a fairly regular basis. And so that's the power of RBTI. Again, it's a laboratory-based test that you can run in your own home. It's laboratory level, and it's scientific. It's very accurate, very effective, and you can see right away how well it's working in conjunction with all the other things. You can still do the blood pressure cuff, you can do the pulse and all the rest of that. But here is a nice objective tool that shows you where you have problems, what kinds of problems. And a lot of times it's simply a matter of drinking the right amount and the right type of water over a certain period of time based on your, age, weight, height, those kinds of factors. So, and then of course, dietary wise, it tells you, it can show you whether or not you're having a lot of that stress is due because of diet, because of the body's inability to digest certain types of foods. And you can see the foods, you can see the numbers relate to the foods. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist and say, you know what, these foods aren't working. And then of course, the more you know, the more you're able to pinpoint what those foods are, make those adjustments, and then of course, provide the improved cardiovascular health.
That's great. And just your final question for today, Dr. Jim, because you've covered a lot of good ground there. If you could just maybe give us a couple of practical examples of really how does RBTI help you address your blood pressure number? So it's not something to fear, it's not a mystical number that you think I could be close to the edge, but I'm not sure. How does RBTI really help provide some clarity on the situation and enable you to take those active steps of addressing your blood pressure in a positive way?
Okay, well, what it will show you is the effect of dietary and lifestyle factors. If there's a lot of tension going on also, the numbers will show that. And the way it shows it is when you're under a lot of stress and tension, the body is just not functioning as efficiently. The two specific numbers that you look at, if you know RBTI, one is the salt number. And so you say, well, how does salt relate? Well, if you're eating foods with a lot of salt, where's a lot of salt? It's in meat and dairy, cooking. People are using too much salt. And if your body isn't processing it efficiently, then that will show up very clearly. And as I said, there's various zones, A, B, C, D, and E. And then when you get into a certain zone, to give you the number doesn't make any sense. But you say in this particular zone, you have quite a bit of cardiovascular stress. And it's to the point where the body says, how am I going to deal with this? And so it deals with it by making cholesterol. So high cholesterol has very little to do with the cholesterol you're putting in your body. If it's working right, cholesterol is something that your body uses it to basically defend itself against certain factors. So to go after reducing your cholesterol, and that's what you see in a blood test. They see the cholesterol and they want to reduce the cholesterol, and they die of a heart attack anyway, because it's not really solving the problem. They're going after the body's way of defending itself. So, for example, if I was to throw a hand grenade into my office and it causes all kinds of holes in the wall, you probably want to plaster the wall. That's what the cholesterol is doing, is plastering it and making it easier for the, and open and making it so that the water can flow through. For example, the water in your body needs to flow. So that's what the cholesterol is there for. So it's there to help you. And in addition to that, cholesterol has 200 other different functions, including supporting the myelin sheath of the central nervous system, supporting the brain, the hormones. So you're going after the cholesterol And that's not the problem. So from an RBTI standpoint, when you understand this, you're going after the causes and contributing factors, which are dietary and lifestyle, as opposed to signs and symptoms. The symptom being cholesterol, which is there to solve the problem, is not the problem. And so that, like I said, that's one of the factors. And then the other one that I talked about in terms of the pectoral heart attack is the ability of the body to process protein. Some people, if you have excess protein that's unutilized, the body can't handle it. And there's an old saying in our field, if you can't assimilate it or eliminate it, it's a poison. Now, in the case of the RBTI test, you are eliminating that excess protein, but that excess protein is telling you what's going on biochemically. So while it's eliminating it, it's not eliminating all of it, but it's a marker that there's a problem. Houston, we have a problem. And that problem, if not addressed, can lead to those different levels of heart attack. And in that particular case, the easiest way to fix it is to thin out the blood, but you don't need blood thinners. You need water. Water is the safest, easiest, and simplest blood thinners. And most people don't drink sufficient water based on their situation. And the standard American diet is a dehydrating diet. It's not a high water content diet. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Whereas a fruit and vegetable, it's high water content. Fruit is over 80% water. Vegetables are over 60, 70% water. Meat is down to 20, 30%. It's all this other stuff, all this other protein and everything, but it's not high water content. And when people are drinking the water, they're not drinking it properly. That's why I said it'll tell you what and tell you how to fix it. And you're supposed to drink your water systematically, not all at one time. So if you require 60 ounces of water or 2 quarts, let's say 2 quarts of water, to drink it all in the morning or all in the afternoon isn't helping you. The body can only handle from a health standpoint, in terms of a liver efficiency standpoint, 4 ounces at a time per half an hour. So understanding that and separating your water and doing it over time, as opposed to our favorite thing, chug-a-lugging, and then of course chug-a-lugging with ice puts a whole other dimension on it. So when you go to a restaurant, what do they give you? They give you a glass of cold water, a glass of some cold beverage with ice, and you're eating that, you're drinking that and the body can't even use it. The body basically goes into shock when you drink cold water, because the body is 98. So I don't want to go into a whole lot of science, but the point is, these are really natural, simple laws, and by working with RBTI, it puts you in tune with this more natural approach, which is not drug oriented or sign and symptom oriented. It's more understanding the biochemistry, what it's telling you, and getting that biochemistry right. And one of the important factors is the systematic drinking of water. And so not only does it tell you you have a problem, it tells you if you're fixing the problem. And in a few hours time, because you're not going to drink your water and then take the test right away. But if you're doing systematic water, and let's say over a two-hour period of time, you drink 20 ounces of water, but 4 ounces every half an hour, then you take another specimen and you say, oh wow, look, my salt level is down, or the urea number, the particular number is down, that shows the excess protein, and so it's telling you there's less stress on the vascular system, there's less stress on the heart system, and therefore less likelihood for you to have a major cardiovascular incident.
Dr. Jim, thank you as always. It's always great to have your wisdom shared with us. And I hope these videos are opening up your line of thought, your thinking as you watch these videos, to really question how your body works and be on a path, set yourself on a path to understand how your body works more. Because one of the things that we come across very regularly at the school is that you can be doing right things wrongly. It's a phrase that you've probably heard many times on these videos. But you can also be not doing the right things at all. You're not even doing it wrongly, you're just not doing it. And I think this is where we're really trying with these videos to get the word out that if you do the basics, a lot of things that take a lot of energy and attention from traditional medicine actually can be resolved very simply and very easily if you know where you need to be applying the action. So Dr. Jim, thanks for really illuminating our minds on the topic of blood pressure today and how RBTI can really be a powerful factor there. Appreciate your time as always, and if you've been watching and you want to see content on other areas, please do leave us a comment. We do monitor the comments and we want to make content that is relevant and helpful for you where you are. But thanks for watching today and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye for now.